What's up everyone, my name's Alpha and today, well, we're back with another Pokemon ROM hack review kinda. We're just gonna do some challenge videos on ROM hacks and also review them in the process. Today, I decided to try something new that I haven't done in a long time or at all. Play a Generation 1 ROM hack, which I did not know existed for the longest time. And I assume it was gonna be a little easier than normal. I spent doing homework for the past 4 hours, so I hopped on to start recording for fun. It definitely made me want to go back to homework. That's how stressful this ROM hack became. But anyways, today we're gonna play Pokemon Blue Kaizo, which if you guys do know what Emerald Kaizo is, it's basically Pokemon Blue version of that. It's way more difficult and it's a lot different. There's only the original 151 Pokemon, and as well it's Generation 1 mechanics. So it's gonna be a very interesting challenge. Let me know if you want me to do more of these ROM hack reviews. It's pretty fun. Anyways, the rules of this, or the objective of this, is just to beat Pokemon Blue Kaizo completely without losing my mind. And as well, each of my Pokemon will be nicknamed after you guys in the comments. So thank you so much for leaving a nickname in the previous challenge video. If you guys want to be nicknamed after a future Pokemon in my future challenge video, just drop in the comments and hopefully I'll pick yours. And while you're down there, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me that you guys support my channel and these videos. And yeah, let's get into the video itself. So to begin off, we're just gonna go through, it's Generation 1. Nothing looks too off yet. I mean, we even got the normal starters. I assume that the tankier Pokemon Bulbasaur was going to be the most useful. And, I mean, we start our first battle against our rival, and he has a Mew. Mew is actually under level, surprisingly. It's at level 3 instead of level 5. So, technically, this is actually an easier battle, as we're able to just Toxic down the Mew and clean it through. But yeah, you can already see where this is going. Yeah, Mew is the first Pokemon our rival has, and he has that for the entire game. I am just gonna start exploring. The routes are completely different. They're made more into a puzzle style, and there seems like there's encounters every single step I take. So I gotta be very careful of that and get a lot of repels later. We're also gonna catch ourselves some good Pokemon out here. I'm not gonna show every catcher. You can see the Pokemon throughout my run. We caught ourselves a Growlithe, a Poliwag, and also a Pikachu. Pikachu looks really ugly in this Generation 1 sprite, and it feels really odd playing Generation 1. It feels so retro. I didn't grow up with Generation 1, I grew up with Generation 3, so that's why it's like, it feels so different to me, but I actually really like it. I kind of wish there was an XP bar. I know in Crystal they do have an XP bar, but it just looks so weird without the XP bar. From there, once we make our way, our long way into Purity City, actually, we're able to go into the first city of the game. And as you can see, I thought my game crashed. I'm trying to get to the first gym. I realized this might be part of the game and not actually a glitch section. I'm trying to refresh the game to see if it's an error or not, but it's not an error. It's part of the game. What you have to do is actually get the tutorial guide to actually bring you in front of the gym so you can enter it. Me being stupid, I jumped over the ledge and had to redo it. But essentially, that's how you have to solve that gym puzzle. There's gonna be similar puzzles for the rest of the game, and you have to get used to it. Anyways, we're gonna face off against the first gym leader in the game. We're gonna face off against Brock first, and Brock is very powerful. His first Pokemon is gonna be a Golem. So yeah. Lucky enough, we have a Poliwhirl with Bubble Beam, so it one-shots the Golem, and then his next Pokemon will be a Kabuto. I decided to switch out into my Growlithe just to sack him as an easy sack, and then I could go out into my Pikachu to two-shot into the Kabuto. In this ROM hack, you can see they have a bunch of items. If you static inflict them, most of the time in the following turn, they will use a full heal, and they'll get rid of the status, since status is so broken in Generation 1. Give you an instance, sleep actually lasts until someone wakes up, and you have to spend a turn waking up. You can't even attack that turn, you have to wake up. And don't get me started on Bind. Bind is a continuous attack. If you outspeed someone, you could just keep using Bind until they get knocked out. As well with Frozen, I don't think you got Unthaw. I'm not too sure if I ever seen someone getting Unthaw in Generation 1. But also your speed stat also calculates into your crit range. So actually having a higher speed will actually allow you to have higher crit chances, I believe. So it's an actually very unique system, I'll say that at least. So we don't have too much of an issue against Brock. As you can see, we're able to get down to his Aerodactyl, we're able to Bubble Beam into him and then knock out his Aerodactyl. So we're able to get our first gym badge in the game super easily. I mean super easily as in the gym fight was easy, but the rest of this was not. As we go out into the next portion of the game, and it just really drives home that this is Kaizo. It is not easy at all. I'm used to just running through, pressing the A button, getting through it pretty easily, but every single fight is like a dread for me, because every single fight took so long and just takes my Pokemon out. Every single trainer is actually decent, and I don't really have a lot of healing items at this point because I don't really run healing items, but it takes a while. Also, Mount Moon is a giant maze. Like every other cave in this game is a giant maze, and you have to get through every single section and fight every single person and every single random encounter that happens. It is a test. It's definitely a trial if you want to play Pokemon Blue Kaizo. From there, once we get to the end of Mount Moon though, they actually give us a bunch of access into a bunch of evolutionary items, which I'm actually thankful for. So we're able to evolve our Pikachu into a Raichu. We can evolve our Poliwhirl into a Poliwrath, and also a Growlithe into an Arcanine. As well, I got myself a Gyarados. I'm not going to use Gyarados for the rest of the game. I just want to keep Gyarados for the first few portions into Celadon City. Same thing with my Ivysaur. I'm going to replace my Ivysaur later, or my Venusaur later. But those two Pokemon will be replaced later. But I just got my Gyarados from the Mount Moon Pokemon Center. From there, we're able to face off against Misty next. Misty's going to be the Water-type gym leader in the game. We're going to start the battle off against her using my Raichu. And yeah, this battle actually not too difficult, as Raichu's able to just beat everything. I think we're slightly over level. Just slightly. I mean, this is not going to happen too many times because they make sure you do not get over level in this game. We're able to beat down a Starmie and then clear through Misty pretty easily. From there, we can move out, and I got lost in Diglett's Cave. I'm not... I thought I was supposed to go through Diglett's Cave, but you're supposed to go all the way around the routes right next to Vermilion City into the SSN, and then clear through the SSN by beating your rival, and then going back all the way around to face off against Lieutenant Surge. So it's definitely a path. It's definitely a puzzle. Anyways, our third gym fight in the game, we're gonna face off against Lieutenant Surge. We're gonna start the battle off against him using my Arcanine. Doesn't look like an Arcanine, as the sprite looks really ugly. But for sure, we're able to dig down and knock out the Electrode, and then two-shot into the Magneton, I believe, and then knock him out as well. So Arcanine's actually doing a lot of work as this next Pokemon will be a Porygon, which I do a lot of damage. I even get a burn off, but unfortunately it's gonna knock me out. But luckily it's not Porygon Z, so we're able to eventually knock out the Porygon, and then his next Pokemon will be a Jolteon. I get very lucky and land Hypnosis. I get very lucky. He went for a Thunder Wave for some reason. Status is very important, but sometimes the AI is dumb and go for status moves when it's clearly they could just knock me out. I get a Hypnosis off, and the Jolteon stays asleep as I'm able to just hit a bunch of Hydro Pumps. Also, for some reason, I feel like my accuracy is better than regular games. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I don't miss a lot of Hydro Pumps. I don't miss a lot of Fire Blasts or Blizzards at all. So surprisingly, I felt very comfortable using those lower accuracy strong power moves. But from there, the Electabuzz comes out next. We're able to actually knock it down with a Poison, and then unfortunately I have a Persian. Persian will come in later, but unfortunately Persian goes down to Electabuzz, and then I have to use my Raichu to knock out the Electabuzz. And his final Pokemon will be his own Raichu, which I do a lot of damage to, but I had to send out my Gyarados, and somehow this works as he goes for a Paralysis once again. He goes for a Thunder Wave, and I'm able to hit him with a Waterfall, and it crits him, and he ends up getting knocked out by my Gyarados. My Water and Flying type knocks out the Raichu. I don't know how that happened, but Lieutenant Surge gives us a gym badge for that. And then from there, we go out into everyone's favorite dark cave rock tunnel. Yeah, this is what you see for the next couple hours. I eventually had to use a guide to get through this, I'm not gonna lie. But from there, we're able to actually go out into Celadon City, and there's no Abra or Dratini here, so that's a waste of time. I still eventually got something though. Eventually got myself a Charmeleon, and add that to my team. Replacing my Gyarados for now, and we're gonna head into the next gym. And look at this, the gym trainers in here have a bunch of water type Pokemon that count as my Charizard. So yeah, that was very useful to buy. Ironically, the grass gym has a lot more coverage than the actual grass gym leader. From there, we're gonna face off against Erika next, which is gonna be the grass gym leader. We're gonna start the battle off against Erika with obviously my newly found Charizard. Charizard is able to flamethrower into the Vileplume twice to knock him out. Okay, maybe three times. Three flamethrowers will knock him out, and then she sends out a Clefable, which knocks out my Charizard, so that was a waste of an investment. She's a lot higher level than me, but I'm able to Body Slam into her using my Persian, get her down to low HP, and now I'm able to switch out into my Raichu to knock out the Clefable, and then the next Pokemon will be a Venusaur. I get it paralyzed, she gets a full heal, and I keep doing this, and I want to see how many items they have in their inventory. It looks like they have infinite, so yeah, I stopped doing that. I went for Headbutts, and Headbutts mixed in with the speed stat, I believe, it's actually really powerful as I get a bunch of flinches back to back. I didn't even mean to do that. I try again with the Tangela. Eventually it's gonna knock me out, but you know what, I did a lot of damage to it. Actually no, I actually eventually knocked out the Tangela as well using the headbutt technique, and I flinched it down and then quick attacked it, so that's actually useful. As her next Pokemon will be a Victory Bell, which looks pretty cool. I'm able to go out into my next fire type, my Arcanine, which I'm able to flamethrower twice into the Victory Bell to knock out, and her final Pokemon will be an Executor. I am able to use my Arcanine to flamethrower into him. She's gonna crit me and knock me out, which is kind of unfortunate. I go out to my Poliwrath. I moved to Hypnosis into the Executor, which is huge. It goes for full heal though, and then I had to go for a Blizzard, hoping for a freeze. There's no freeze, there's no justice in this world, as she's getting actually not able to hit me with a Hypnosis. So we had to go for a Blizzard again, and then eventually she's actually gonna be able to knock me out with a Psychic, but I do have Venusaur in the back. It outspeeds the Executor, cut to knock her out, and we're able to beat down Erika, and we get our 4th gym badge, surprisingly so. From there, we can go into Silph Co, clear through Giovanni, which he has the strongest Pokemon in the game, which is going to be a Tauros. Yeah, I tried to search out for this myself, couldn't find it in the Safari Zone later on, but Tauros is the best Generation 1 Pokemon in the game, and yeah, we're going to see a lot of Tauros in the future. From there, we actually go into the Pokemon Tower and catch ourselves a Ghastly. I mean, catching is a very loose term because it does not want to catch at all. Like, it knocked out my Poliwrath. We're eventually able to capture the Ghastly and then move out into the Safaris. Instead of going to Silph Co immediately, they want you to actually go into Fuchsia City from Lavender Town, south exit into Fuchsia City, clear through all that, and then go into the Safari Zone. I mean, luckily enough, we caught ourselves a Dratini, which is very cool. And then you get the HM for Surf and then face off against Koga next. Koga is going to be the 5th gym leader in the game, so we're going to start the battle off against him using my Poliwrath. But a lot of the battles are like this, where the opponents put me to sleep and then I have nothing to do, so I have to restart immediately. So I'm going to face off against Koga. I'm going to start the battle off against him using my Charizard, Flamethrower twice to knock out the Venom off, and then his next Pokemon will be a Weezing. I do a lot of damage to him, but he's going to knock me out, which is fine. I can switch out into my newly found Dragonite, which is amazing. Hyper Beam in this generation is actually a really good move. It's 150 power, and if you knock out the Pokemon, you actually regain your recharge turn. So that's actually amazing for us, as we're able to Hyper Beam once again into the Mr. Mime, and his next Pokemon will be a Nidoking. I'm pretty sure he could learn Blizzard, but he goes for a Thunderbolt against me first, and then I go for a Double Edge. Okay, and then he goes for a Blizzard. That makes more sense. Eventually knocks me out as I go out to my Poliwrath to knock him out with a Surf, and then his Gengar comes out next. He's gonna put me to sleep and knock me out, so that's pretty deadly. I go out to my own Gengar. He misses his Hypnosis as I'm able to get my Hypnosis off, and I'm able to Thunderbolt into him. Confuse Ray, lucky enough in this generation, full heals from the NPCs don't actually heal you Confusion state. It actually works out as I'm able to make him hit himself in Confusion, and he does over half, as I'm able to just go for a Thunderbolt. As he goes for a Nightshade, it knocks me out, but I do have my Raichu to Thunderbolt into the Gengar to knock him out, and his final Pokemon will be a Tentacruel, which I go for a Thunderbolt. Doesn't work as he's able to knock me out. My last Pokemon will be a Persian, which I decided to go for a Body Slam against him, and it actually ends up working out as I'm able to crit him down, and he doesn't do a lot of damage to my Persian. Now I have Persian because it's such a speedy Pokemon, and it'll be very useful with Body Slam and Slash and Bite all around later on. But from there, we're gonna go into Silph Co, and every single floor you have to face at least 1 or 2 Team Rocket members in that floor, so it's very annoying. Eventually we're gonna get through it. We're eventually getting cleared through all the Team Rocket members and then face off against Sabrina. Sabrina is gonna be the 6th gym leader in the game. She's also the Psychic type gym leader. We're gonna start the battle off against her using my Charizard, because she starts the battle off with a Jinx, and Charizard in generation 1 and 2, all it does is just use Flamethrower, and that's what we're gonna do. Flamethrower to knock out the Jinx, and then her next Pokemon will be a Slowbro. I tactically switch out into my Raichu to go for 2 Thunderbolts to knock out the Slowbro. Her next Pokemon will be a Hypno, which I get a Thunder Wave off against. She goes for a full heal, and that's kind of foreshadowing later on in the game, where they just constantly, they actually predict you for using a status and use a full heal on that turn. So I'll tell you when that's happening. But from there, I go out to my Persian. I could have went for Body Slams, but I decided to go for 2 Slashes to knock out the Hypno, as her Executor will knock me out. And then I had to go out into my Gengar, which Hypnosis did not land at all as my Gengar goes down, unfortunately. From there, I'm able to go out into my Charizard, which does a lot of damage. Unfortunately, the Executor still survives and knocks out my Charizard. This thing is very powerful. I did not know this thing was that strong in this generation, but I'm able to Hyper Beam into the Executor to knock him out. And then from there, I'm able to Thunder Wave the Starmie that comes in, and I'm able to Hyper Beam into it and knock him out, as his final Pokemon will be an Alakazam, which goes for a Thunder Wave, and I go for a Hyper Beam, which is also physical in this game, and knocks out the Alakazam in one shot, as we're able to beat down Sabrina. Not too bad. From there, we're going to actually move on quickly into the next gym in the game. We're going to face off against Blaine next. Blaine is going to be the Fire type gym leader in the game. We'll start the battle off against him using my Poliwrath, which in theory should be putting in a lot of work, as I'm able to go for a Hydro Pump against the Charizard immediately. 2 Hydro Pumps somehow is able to knock out the Charizard, which should be just 1. His next Pokemon will be a Chansey, which I kind of wish I kept Submission on my Poliwrath, but unfortunately I didn't. I go out to my Dodrio. Reason I have Dodrio is because it has Fly, and my Charizard and Dragonite cannot learn Fly. So yeah, I completely forgot it was on my team. But Chansey comes out, it's gonna knock out my Dodrio. I get a free switch into my Charizard, which I'm able to slash into, eventually get him down to low HP, and then switch out into my Dragonite to Hyper Beam and knock out the Chansey. His next Pokemon will be a Rapidash, which I don't really have an answer for. I decided to go out to my Raichu, which only does two things, Thunderbolt and Paralyzed. Well, I decided to go for it. 2 Thunderbolts will get him down to low HP as he puts me to sleep, and then for some reason, we're actually just dodging all the horn drills possible, and eventually I wake up, Thunderbolt, and knock out the Rapidash. If it just hits me normally, my Raichu would have been gone. But from there, I'm able to Thunderbolt into the Flareon. Unfortunately, it's going to go for a Body Slam and crit me and knock me out. I didn't know in this game, I didn't even read it, but it one-shot my Poliwrath because Solar Beam is no charge at all in this generation, or in this game. From there, I go out to my Dragonite, which I'm able to go for Double Edge to knock out the Flareon, which was actually a big scare. And from there, I'm able to get a Thunder Wave off against the Magmar, Double Edge, and then eventually Hyper Beam or Double Edge again to knock him out. And his final Pokemon will be a Moltres, which is, very normal. I decided to go for a Thunder Wave as he's going to go for a Sky Attack. I survive it just with 1 HP. Paralyze him, go for a Hyper Beam, he's going to go for a Full Heal, and then knock out my poor Moltres. I go out to my Gengar, which is going to miss a Hypnosis because he has no eyeballs at all. But I'm able to go for a Thunderbolt, eventually knock out the Moltres, which I should have done on the first turn. And we're able to beat down Blaine. So yeah, what we realize is that there's a lot of legendaries coming up. That's what I'm realizing. From there, we're going to face off against Giovanni next. Giovanni is going to be the 8th and final gym leader in the game. I'm going to start the battle off against his Persian using my own Persian, which Persian sprite looks really cool, and for some reason I'm actually speedier than him, so I'm able to Hypnosis him, put him to sleep, and that should be done for his Persian, as I'm able to slash twice into him, knock him out. His next Pokemon will be a Dugtrio, which I'm able to get, another Hypnosis off against. I'm able to knock out his Dugtrio as well, and then his next Pokemon will be a Zapdos, and I just went for a cheeky Hypnosis. It didn't affect the Zapdos, but the second turn around, it does work out, as I'm able to crit down the Zapdos somehow. 3 crits in a row, which slash knocks him out, and then his next Pokemon will be a Gengar. And I decided to go for Hypnosis. This time it didn't work. He's gonna knock me out and punish me, which is kind of unfortunate. But from there, I'm able to go out to my Charizard. For some reason, he put me to sleep, and then Explosion on me. Didn't even kill my Charizard. So I don't know what's going on there. His Tauros will. He comes out with his Tauros. He's gonna knock me out. I'm able to get a Thunder Wave on the Tauros, and then go for a Double Edge. And from there, he needs to recharge, and then he's gonna go for a Full Heal in this turn as I go for a Hyper Beam, and it's gonna knock out the Tauros in that turn. So it actually works out pretty well. He sends out his Mewtwo next. Yeah, he has a Mewtwo, level 90 Mewtwo. I decided to go for a Thunder Wave. On the same turn, he goes for a Thunder Wave. So you know what? We're just matching off right now. From there, I decided to go for a Hyper Beam. Unfortunately, I get fully paralyzed, and then he goes for a Psychic the next turn, and he knocks me out in that turn, which is kind of, unfortunate, but he's paralyzed. He decided to not go for a Full Heal, which is fine. I go out to my Raichu. I'm going for Headbutt Flinches against the Mewtwo. Does not work. He's gonna Psychic and knock out my Raichu. But I do a lot of chip damage, which allows me to go out into my Gengar. I was thinking about Confuse Ray, but Thunderbolt is just, safe damage. Take the safe damage as it comes. Knock him down to pretty low HP. Gets a Psychic, crits me. Okay, my last Pokemon is my Poliwrath, which is also weak to Psychic. I do have a Hydro Pump, and it looks like it should kill in this range, but he has very, very high. I think he has the highest special stat, which actually in this generation, special is not split up in special defense and special attack. It's just one stat, and it's very powerful. As you see, he lives a Hydro Pump with that much HP, but lucky enough, he gets paralyzed, and I don't want to miss a Hydro Pump. I went into Surf to knock him out guaranteedly, and we end up beating down Giovanni, but got very, very lucky. We were one move away from losing the game, but we eventually beat down Giovanni, which is very cool for us. From there, we're going to move out into Victory Road, clear through Victory Road pretty easily, and then head into the Indigo Plateau next. In here, we're going to face off against the Elite Four. Now, all my Pokemon, level 100, obviously. Now, what can they do to us? They can actually change the level to 115. Oh! And we can't gain any levels to gain up to them, so they're always going to be 15 levels ahead of us constantly. So that's fun. As you can see, I restarted a bunch because I was just confused. I was like, oh, this is the type of Kaizo they want to do. Anyways, we're gonna start the battle off against Lorelei, the first Elite Four member in the game. We're gonna start the battle off against her using my Gengar. Lucky enough, it's actually faster than his Cloyster, so I'm able to Thunderbolt into him and knock him out. And from there, I also get the Nidoqueen confused, and I'm able to Psychic twice into her and then knock him out. Her next Pokemon will be a Vaporeon, which I get a few Thunderbolts off against her. It's fine, but she's eventually gonna knock out my poor Gengar. Which we get 2 KOs, so it's fine. We're able to go out to my Charizard, Slash will knock out the Vaporeon, and then bait in the Jinx, which will Fire Blast. I'm telling you, I'm very comfortable with using these moves because they don't feel like they miss that much. I get a burn, and here's a little tip. If you burn or inflict a status at the end of the turn, they're going to be forced to use a healing item in that turn. So they actually waste a turn like that. That's a good tip to keep in mind as we're able to beat down the Jinx. Go for a Fissure against the Lapras. Of course I missed, but it would have been cool if I landed it. But I'm able to do a bit of damage against the Lapras and then go out into my Raichu to knock out the Lapras in a crit Thunderbolt. And then the Articuno comes out. I do survive a move against him, and a crit Thunderbolt into regular Thunderbolt will knock out the Articuno. As we're able to beat down Lorelei, the first Elite Four member, which her Pokemon are 15 levels higher than us, and we're still able to beat her. Next up, we're not going to face off against Bruno, we're going to face off against the Professor. We're going to face off against Professor Oak as the second Elite Four member, which is great, I guess. We're going to start the battle off against his Raichu using my Persian, which we're able to body slam into, and then get a crit and another crit to knock him out. His next Pokemon will be a Machamp, and I was trying to employ the strategy of body slam paralyzed to see if he would just use full heals, but he didn't get paralyzed. He high jump kicks me, which I wasn't even sure it was in this game. He's gonna high jump kick me and knock out my Persian, and then from there I'm gonna go out into my Gengar. It's gonna predict you using status moves, so we have to go for a Psychic, crits him at least, and his next Pokemon will be a Chansey. I go for a Confuse Ray. He's gonna hit himself in confusion. Did a whole 6 damage to him, I think. So I decided to switch out into my next Pokemon. I decided to go out to my Charizard. My Charizard is able to do a bunch of damage with Slash, but unfortunately Chansey is so bulky, he's able to knock out my Charizard. As I go out to my Dragonite, Hyper Beam will actually land and knock out the Chansey with a crit. His next Pokemon, or his next 3 Pokemon, will be all the starter Pokemon. I decided to start off with a Thunder Wave. He goes for a Body Slam. Luckily he didn't paralyze me, as I'm able to double edge into him twice to knock out his Charizard. His next Pokemon will be a Venusaur. I do have Blizzard. Am I gonna? No, I go for the classic Thunder Wave. Thunder Wave into a Blizzard, which is nice. He's gonna go for a full heal after this. And then I'm able to Hyper Beam and knock out the Venusaur. His last Pokemon will be a Blastoise, which I also employ the Thunder Wave technique. No, I didn't. I just decided to go out for a Hyper Beam, but he outspeeds me somehow and then Blizzards me. And my Gengar goes down as well. I'm down to my last 2 Pokemon. Looking up, Raichu will clutch up. Oh my god, Raichu just one-shotted a 15 level advantage Blastoise in one shot, which is crazy. So yeah, my Raichu is really good. From there, we're going to face off against Agatha next. Agatha is the 3rd Elite Four member. She's actually the easiest one, surprisingly. As we're going to start the battle off against her using my Persian, which feels so weird, as I'm able to just body slam and then slash down her Hypno. And then from there, I could body slam into the Executor. It's going to drop my speed, which is unfortunate, but I'm able to do a bit more damage to the Executor. Executor is just a really good Pokemon in this generation. From there, I go out to my Charizard, and I'm able to Flamethrower, knock out the Executor. And then her next Pokemon will be a Tentacruel. And then I go out to my Raichu. Raichu is easily going to be able to Thunderbolt and then knock out the Tentacruel for us. Her next Pokemon will be a Jinx, which I go for a Thunder Wave. It works out, as I'm able to get a few Thunderbolts off against her. And I eventually lose my Raichu. And then I go out into my Charizard once again, Flamethrower to knock her out. And then her Gengar comes out next. She's getting Psychic into me. Since there's no Ghost move, there's not a lot of things Gengar can do. It's just very speedy and has a lot of good status infliction move. I'm able to actually Fire Blast and burn it, force him to use a full heal, so I'm able to go for a Flamethrower in the same turn and then knock her out. So we're able to beat down Agatha pretty easily. Oh wait, her last Pokemon will be Alakazam. For some reason, it just goes for a Recover and then for a Thunder Wave, and then I'm able to just 2-shot him with Slash. I don't know. Alakazam, very let down. It's really good Pokemon, just really a huge letdown. Just Generation 1 AI. But from there, we're going to face off against Lance next. Lance is going to be the 4th Elite Four member in the game. He's going to start the battle off against us using a Kangaskhan, surprisingly. We're going to go for a Fire Blast. He misses his first move, but he does paralyze me. And that paralysis is going to be staying on my Charizard for the rest of the game because I don't have any full heals at all, or paralysis heals. Lucky enough, we do end up knocking out the Kangaskhan, as his next Pokemon will be a Lapras. I decided to go out to my Raichu, which I'm able to Thunderbolt into the Lapras, 2-shot him, which is huge. And then his next Pokemon will be an Electabuzz, which I don't have a lot of great moves. I mean, lucky enough, I'm able to paralyze the Electabuzz, but that only gives me a little window. I was hoping I could flinch him, but he goes for a full heal. It doesn't work out to my favor, as I'm able to go out into my Dragonite next to go for a Thunder Wave, force him into a full heal, and then Hyper Beam to knock him out. And then his next Pokemon will be a Dragonite, which, lucky enough, he misses his Blizzard against my Dragonite, and I'm able to land my Blizzard against him, and then it actually knocks him out in one shot. His next Pokemon will be a Snorlax, which, you know, very tanky Pokemon, one of the better Pokemon at Generation 1. I'm able to get a Double Edge against him as he goes for a Hyper Beam against me, and that means he has to recharge this turn. I'm allowed to go for a Hyper Beam against him. I decided to go for a Blizzard, looking for a Freeze against him. It does not work, obviously. He's just going to be recharging this turn, and then I go for a Hyper Beam. He looks like he's in Hyper Beam range, but unfortunately, he's going to live this, and he's going to knock out my poor Dragonite. So that's unfortunate. It's going to be fine as I'm able to go out into my Poliwrath. Poliwrath's able to surf and knock out the Snorlax, which is huge for us. And his last Pokemon will be an Aerodactyl, which isn't the most threatening thing in the world, but it's definitely a Pokemon. I'm able to go for a Hydro Pump as he goes for a Sky Attack. He's going to one-shot my poor Poliwrath, which is unfortunate. From there, I go out to my Persian, which Persian is able to Body Slam. I'm able to survive an Earthquake and then go for a few slashes against him. He's gonna go for a full heal. I go for a Body Slam again. He paralyzes. Now he's at half HP. Eventually he's gonna knock out my Persian, but I get him down to below half HP. I go out into my Gengar. Gengar is actually somehow able to outspeed the Aerodactyl, Thunderbolt him, and knock him out. Is this like nerf Aerodactyl? Like Aerodactyl is supposed to be speedier, no? I swear Aerodactyl is actually the fastest Pokemon in the game. But anyways, Aerodactyl goes down. We're able to beat down Lance, and woo, that got very close. Now from there, we're going to face off against the final trainer in the game. We're going to face off against a rival. We're going to face off against a champion. There's actually so many attempts that I want to show you this one in particular. Oh, I had to fix my mic. I didn't know. I was too intense into this game. My mic was actually falling over. But I was so close. This is the second to last Pokemon. And somehow his Tauros knocks out 4 of my Pokemon in the process. So it's going to be a tough battle. We're going to start the battle off against him using my Persian. Now Persian, I have a plan for. Persian is going for Body Slam exclusively. It gets paralyzed on the Mew, and then he follows you, paralyzed again, until he actually goes down to a low range, which I'm able to go for a Bite against, flinch him, and then slash him to knock him out with a crit again. And then he goes out to his Jolteon. He's obviously going to outspeed me. However, he goes for a Sand Attack instead of actually attacking me, allowing me to go for a Body Slam. Paralyze the Jolteon. I decided to go for a slash for some reason, but you know what, it works out as I'm able to go for another slash and knock out the Jolteon. And this next Pokemon will be Exeggutor, which I go for a Body Slam, crits him and paralyzes him as well, and everything's working out perfectly as I'm able to Body Slam once again, get another paralysis on the Exeggutor, and then he gets the full heal again because he's using all these turns to predict me, as I'm able to slash into the Exeggutor to knock him out. 3 Pokemon knocked down with just my Persian. What are the odds? That's perfect. That's a perfect start for me. He goes out to the Starmie next. I could have stayed in. I'm pretty sure I outspeed him, but I go out to my Raichu. Thunderbolts. 2 Thunderbolts will knock out the Starmie for me, which is amazing. And then he only has 2 Pokemon left, so exactly where I had him in the last fight. So from there, I sack my Raichu because obviously it's a Tauros. Can't do too much to him. I decided to go out to my Poliwrath next. Poliwrath is going to go for a Hydro Pump to get some damage off against him. He goes for a Hyper Beam and misses, so I go for a Hydro Pump. And eventually gets down to low HP. He has to recharge now, as I'm able to go for a Surf against him on his recharge turn and knock out the Tauros. And then finally, his last Pokemon will not be anything else besides a Mewtwo. A level 115 Mewtwo goes for an unusual play and Thunder Waves my Poliwrath first before hitting him with a Psychic, allowing me to just, it's a 5v1 at this point. I decided to go out to my Dragonite against the Mewtwo. And Dragonite's able to get a Hyper Beam. Maybe I should have Double Edge. Actually, thinking back, I should have Double Edge, but I wanted the most damage I could have gotten. He decides to recover on my recharge turn, and allowing me to go for another Hyper Beam. I feel like, I got fully paralyzed, but I'm going to go for a Hyper Beam once again. A crit will win me the game right now. Unfortunately, he goes for a Body Slam, and I go for a Hyper Beam. It does not get a crit, obviously, because this game would not give it to me. But it gets him down to low HP, and he goes for a Body Slam once again, and it's obviously gonna knock me out. Actually crits me and knocks me out, so it actually does matter. From there, I go out into my Charizard to see if I can do anything. He goes for a Psychic immediately in my paralyzed Charizard, and that's definitely gonna kill. It's a Mewtwo. Oh, it did not kill. I take it back. I take it back. My Charizard survives the Psychic. I didn't remember this. Flamethrower to knock out the Mewtwo, and we are done. We are out of here. We completed Pokemon Blue Kaizo with that was actually very fun. I was surprised that I had this much fun in Generation 1, because I'm gonna be honest, Generation 1 and 2 weren't the best in my eyes and don't play the best, but surprisingly this was a very fun ROM hack to play, and it was very challenging as well. Was it very tedious to go through every single puzzle possible and then almost rip my hair out? Of course not, but it was part of the experience, and if you guys want to go through the same pain as I do, I would highly recommend playing this ROM hack. It's a solid 7.5 out of 10. I say you should play it, but it doesn't have a lot of replay value. There's obviously some tricks you can get around and very easily cheese through the game if you have certain setups, but very fun overall. Anyways, that should do it for my video. Sorry for the bit of the mic lacking. I didn't know my mic fell down while I was recording. I was just in the flow of commentary. But anyways, thanks so much for watching all the way to the end. It means a lot to me you guys make it this far. If you guys can, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, my name's been Alpha. Hope you guys all had a great day, and I'm out. Peace.